Yan. Okay. So I think you can see my screen now. So let's talk about the ancient Egyptian civilization. So this is actually one of the okay, wait lang guys. Sinayin ko muna siguro. Wag muna yun. Let's we go first for the first civilization, which is the Mesopotamian. Okay, wait lang. Saan yung file ko? Ayan, ito na lang. Wag muna tayo sa Egyptian kasi ito yung unang-unang na-realize na civilization, which is the Mesopotamian. Now, in the Mesopotamian, if you will notice the heading that was included in the screen that you have there, it's actually considered as the land between two rivers. Now, the reason why it's called the land between two rivers, it is actually situated between the two biggest rivers in the area. You have there the Tigris and the Euphrates River. That's why it's called the land of the Fertile Crescent because of the design. So yan na para siyang crescent, yung parang shape ng moon. Yan. So here's another picture showing also the crescent shape. So ito yung dalawang rivers natin. You have there Tigris and then you have Euphrates there. Okay? Sa yung mouse ko. Yan. So yan. Okay, so dalawang rivers na dyan. Now, if you're going to go back to history, there are actually a lot of civilization that are a lot of societies or people who established their place in this particular region. So you have the first one, the Sumerians, then you have also the Akkadians, the Babylonians, the Hittites, and the Assyrians. Now, if in case you are a Christian or a Catholic and you're reading into the Old Testament, you might hear or have read these people because they're the ones who actually uh, pushed the Israelites out of their land during the ancient times. Kaya napaligoy-ligoy sila nun. Okay? Now, let's start off first the first group, which is the Sumerian. So, kaya nga, when you go to read about the Sumerians, they were actually considered as the cradle of civilization. So, this is actually because of the location. So, usually, guys, when you talk about evolution or history or development of societies and civilization, they always starts off with the different bodies of water. Okay, so for the one for the Sumer, they actually have here, and so this is where they're located. This is actually a location along the Tigris and Euphrates River. So particularly in this lower part. Now, if I go back to the slide here, these are the things that were very made famous for them. So they have trees. Wala nga lang silang stone or metal, but they were able to maximize whatever materials that they have, like clay. So yan yung parang ito yung, this is a material that was very utilized or highly utilized by them. That's why they have this pottery, yung mga pictures or monuments na maliliit. Parang kala mo ginawa nilang parang tawag to, mala Barbie doll nila yan nung unang panahon. Okay? So they were able to come up with different farming techniques there. Kasi nga, since they have bodies of water beside them, they created dams, dikes that allowed water to flow into their farms there. Okay. And because of that, they were able to grow barley, dates, and even domesticate animals such as sheep and goats. Okay. So ito po yung modern day Iraq natin. Okay. So they were able to come out with regional centers. Meron silang regional centers in terms of kung saan heavily populated. So you have the urban center and then you also have the rural center. So this is where ito yung mismong city nila and they have the rurals that are sa gilid. So this is almost similar to sa atin sa city and then you have the uh, provinces at the sides, okay? So the kings are usually named as lugal. Yan. And then for the provincial states or the rural farmlands, so usually it's divided into square or rectangular plots wherein they will able to be able to farm, and it is surrounded with canals with flowing water. Okay? So they also came up with devices like plows or yung plow, yung ginagamit, yung hinihila ng baka, as you can see here in the diagram. Then they have also seed drills para madali silang makapaglagay ng mga binhi sa lupa, and stone hoes for crops. Then they also use carts. So this was a time when they created the first wheel. So they were able to trade by utilizing horses, donkeys to pull their materials, and they were able to move from one place to another. Okay. Now, since they already started with the land that they have, usually another thing that civilization tends to look into is to make sure that they protect the area. Since they have a good source of water, it is a very strategic location. So kung strategic then you have to protect yourselves from invaders who want to take over the land. And that is why they came up with different gates and walls. Okay? So they have paved roads already that divides the houses from the wealthy and the not so wealthy, and they have small alleyways. Okay, and of course they have yung mga bahay nila, they used now clay roof din ang ginagamit nila. Okay? So here is actually an artist depiction of the Sumerian state of Ur. This is one of the recognized states during the Sumerian civilization. So here, if you will notice, they have their walls. Then you have there the Euphrates River. And then you have here the ziggurat. This is actually one of their very famous infrastructure. When you say infrastructure, it is something that it's big. Malaking construction yan. And then you have here other places that is usually near the ziggurat. Now that they have the ziggurat, this is actually a sort of a worship place nila. Okay? So the king also is acting like a messenger of God or a son of God. They actually go there. And then you have here other infrastructures, but not as big as the ziggurat. Okay? Then you have the houses there, may mga kalsada sila in between. Now, yung ziggurat na yan, kaya nagkaroon ng idea on how big it is because of the remains of the ziggurats that were found. Okay, so you have here the Anu ziggurat. Okay, and the Wine Temple of Anuk. Okay. So ito po ngayon, this was actually remains nung ziggurat during the ancient times. But you can see there, it is very big, para siyang mukhang mountain. Na kaya naman siya hindi pwede sabihin na as a mountain is because of the lot of openings inside. Okay? May mga flat areas sila, tapos may mga daanan. So, hindi siya pwede sabihin na bundok yan. Okay? Tapos may mga butas-butas sa loob. Then, here is an example of the White Temple of Ziggurat, how it might look like. Okay? And this is the restored version of the Ziggurat of Ur. So, ni-restore nila yan. So, if you will see, it was almost as big as the pyramids. Mas makapal siya, yung walls niya. Kasi remember, during the time, to make sure that the structure would be big, you have to make a lot of columns to make sure that the walls would stay up. And by doing that, pinakapal nila yung mga pader nila. Okay? Now, here at the bottom, since remember this is in Iraq, which is modern day Mesopotamia, so incorporate nila yung design ng ziggurat sa kanilang mga infrastructure. So they have here an office in Baghdad that was created in 1970s. Okay? So, yan. Now, in terms of technical advances, ito yung mga na-discover nila. So, it's in any order. So, unang-una, of course, it's famous for the wheel. So, because of the wheel, they were able to come up with push carts and wagons that allow them to carry materials from point A to point B. Then, ito yung potter's wheel. Ito yung kanina na hindi nagamit ni Kuya nung gumagawa siya ng bahay. So, yan yung, if you've seen the movie Ghost, yan yung hinahawakan nilang dalawa ni Patrick Swayze at saka ni Demi Moore. Yan. Okay? And then, of course, they have the plow, yung ginagamit para tawag nito, para makapag-till ng land. Okay? Then they also have water clock to measure time, and then sewers under the streets. Okay. Here are also other forms that they were able to come up with. They have bronze tools and weapons since this is a transition time during the Neolithic age. Then they have also bleaching and pigmentation or pigments. So you will see here one of the murals, has blue and red pigments para magkaroon ng design. And if you will look here at the bottom, you will see there yung kanilang version ng kanilang chariot. Okay? So, I don't know how they created. Basta alam nila nakatali yung kabayo. And then, may nakasakay sa kabayo. And then, yung kanilang wheel. Okay? So, mapapansin niyo in order for them to fasten the wheel, they included some things inside there. Kumbaga, yung ternilyo nila. Okay? So, yan. And then, of course, may uso sa kanila yung makeup din, although as not as fancy as the Egyptians, if you go to the Egyptian civilization. Then, they also have glass jewelry and irrigation. If you will notice here, in the picture below, you will see there men fishing instead of di sila nagfi-fish, they might be trying to ano ba yun, shoot the fish into a certain location para madali silang mahakot and then yung bodies of water malapit sa kanilang taniman. Okay? Then at the same time, they also produce their bricks. So using the same concept na nakita natin kanina sa video, ang ginagamit nila is dayami tapos yung wet na lupa, then they form the bricks already. So here is a primitive version of the wood, the bricks. Then you have here textile. Okay, kaya nga nakatapis na siya kasi they're into textile weaving already. Ito yung flow nila. Yan, may karit sa kabilang side. Tapos ito, nakakaangklayan dun sa balikat ng dalawang, I think dalawang cow. Okay, and then here is an example showing that they were able to smelt materials. Okay, they were able to liquefy metal and shape it into different forms. Now, aside from these things, they are also uh, they have their own version of mathematics during their time. So they're using the base 60 or what we call the sexagesimal six system. Okay, so if you will notice, it's almost similar to the Hindu-Arabic. Yun nga lang pagdating ng 10 naka-dent siya, okey? So, almost similar din sa Roman style din, okay? 'Di ba sa 10 sa Roman it's X and then using the concept of the 12, 'di ba? Instead of X, 1 sa kanila naka-dent yung 10 and then dalawa, okay? So, it's almost similar to the Romans actually yung style nila. Okay. And then they were able to divide the circle into 360 degrees and then the calendar into 12 months using also the sexagesimal system. And because of that, they were also able to calculate areas of triangles and rectangles as well. Now, aside from mathematics, they also have sciences in terms of plants and animals. They maximize the idea of coming up with the different names of different plants and herbs. So if you will notice here, I'm not sure yung iba, pero, oh, sorry. Wait lang guys, yan. I was supposed to, yan. So if you're going to look here, I'm not sure what, oh my gosh, this is an insect. Okay? Mukha siyang insect, guys. Kasi ito yung star anise, yung nilalagay natin 'pag nagpapakulo tayo ng baka. Okay? And I think this is ginger. Okay? And this is, if I'm not mistaken, para siya yung atsuete. Yan. And this is saffron. Very expensive po 'tong saffron. Yung saffron po, yun yung pampaamoy or para maging mabango yung lugaw lalo. Yung mapula-pula na nilalagay nila. And because of that, they were able to come up with a different materials that allows them to heal people. Okay? Yan. So they were able to catalog which materials can be used to heal people. Okay, so like using milk, turtle shells, figs, and salt. Then aside from that, they have also the cylinder seal. Actually, it's more of parang siya yung ano, pantatak nila. Okay? So, yan yung ginagamit nila. Instead of writing the name of the king, ito yung kanyang design, yung logo ng kanyang pangalan. Okay? So, here are examples more of their Sumerian art. Potteries, if you will notice, which was been preserved. So, yan. Okay? Ito naman, another one showing a clay tablet. May mga writings. Ito siguro laruan to ng bata. Okay? And then you have also jewelry. Since they were smelting metal, here are examples of jewelries that were available during that time. Okay? So sa mga babae, common na common po yan. So hindi man corona, binigyan siya ng tatlong estrella or stars sa ulo. So pendant, I think this is pendant. Okay, hikaw, sing-sing. Then they also have their own version of some musical instruments. Now, usually these are the things that they have with them. So if you will notice, hindi siya malalaki because since most of the time, ang primary na trabaho ng mga common na people is more on agriculture. Either nag-aalaga ka ng hayop or nagtatanim ka. Okay? Kaya nga papansin niyo for those who are reading the Bible, yung familiar with stories of the Old Testament, ganyan sila. And in the night time, saka sila nag-enjoy. So they use this to come up with music that would play in front of the fire and people would dance in front of the fire. So yan yung mga style nila. So this is actually goes back as far as 1400 years before Christ. Now they have their own language, and the written language is called the cuneiform. Okay, so if you're going to look here, these are the different cuneiform as being utilized by different civilizations that stayed inside the Mesopotamia or the area between Tigris and Euphrates. So you have the old characters. So for star, ulo, ear ng wheat, man, yan. So they have here different characteristics. Then they come with the old Babylonian. So Babylonian is one of those civilization that also stayed in that area after the Sumerian. So if you will notice, it evolved. It used the design that is very famous now already for Mesopotamian writing, and it has evolved from the old characters. Then it's also with the Assyrians. Okay? So medyo binago nila ng konti pero it's almost similar as still with the Old Babylonian. And then the New Babylonian, ginamit na nila yung characters ng Assyrian halos. Okay? So yan, that's for their writing system. And here is actually naman comparing with the Persian. So yung Persian, this is actually the older, the newest after the New Babylonian. So they are using the same writing script already in their language. And so this is for logograms and then for numbers. Okay. So still using the Sumerian numerical system. In-apply din nila. Okay. So yan. Then afterwards, in terms of writing, so just to summarize the things that we have for the Sumerians, so they have own record keeping, allowed works on law, math, and grammar to be written, literature. So you have there, if you watch the Eternals, yung Gilgamesh is actually from this particular region in the world. See, they also improve transportation because of the wheel, and then they have also the plow. So yung wheel din also ginamit as pottery. Then you have now the Akkadians, and one of the famous personality was Sargon the Great. Okay, so this is more on conquest. And then you have the Babylonians. Now the Babylonians is made famous for the Code of Hammurabi, the Ishtar Gate. Ito yung Ishtar Gate. So again, if you watch the Eternals, you will see the Ishtar Gate there as well. Then the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which is actually did not really came from or is found in Babylon, but it's actually in Nineveh. Nineveh is in the upper region of the Mesopotamia. Dati hindi yan sakop ng Babylonians. Now, since they expanded their conquest, inabot na nila yung mismong crescent region na yon hanggang makarating sila ng part ng Arabia and Israel, that's how they were able to conquer Nineveh. Okay, so here is a picture. This was actually an artist rendition tong nasa baba, and this is the one showing, ito yung artist rendition, how it would look like. Kasi yung prinsesa o yung favorite wife nung king ng Nineveh, galing sa lugar na maraming halaman. Puro disyerto yung lugar na yon. So, saan ka makahanap ng halaman? So, gumawa siya ngayon ng palasyo na punong-puno ng halaman kasi galing siya sa somewhere in Africa. Kaya yon. And this is actually an actual picture or parang design sa pader nung area na yon, showing the actual hanging gardens. Although hindi na siya nag exist ngayon, pero if you're going to look at the design here, you will notice that water is being supplied to the highest regions. Now, syempre, since during that ancient time, wala naman na maayos na record keeping, but one thing that they believe the reason why they were able to bring water on the upper regions of the palace is because of the Greek screw. Nature ng Greek screw. Okay? So the Greek screw is actually a way for them to bring water into the upper regions of a location. So ito po yung itsura niyan. Wait lang. Ito na lang. Okay. Okay, so you can see that that is what we call the Greek screw, wherein using the screw material is actually able to bring water above the location. So nakakapagdala sila ng tubig dun sa upper portion noong hanging garden. Okay? So, yan po yung concept na yun. Kaya nakakapagdala sila ng water dyan. Hindi po yan galing sa taas. Wala po yan. Kasi nga, if you're going to look on the depiction there, mataas po yan. So, wala kang pagdadaluyan ng tubig. So, it's coming from downwards and then saka sila ipadadaanin sa baba. Okay? Then, you also have here more pictures showing the walls of Babylon. So as you will notice again, see using the same concept as well, mas makakapal yung mga pader. Okay? Yan. Although ito na lang yung natira dyan. Okay? And here are more examples of the walls of Babylon. Yan. Okay, so this is actually the Ishtar Gate. So this is actually the gate of the inner city of Babylon. And it's actually listed in the Great Wonders of the World. Okay, so it was created by King Nebuchadnezzar during 575 BC. Saan ba yun? Teka lang. If I can, yan. Ayan. So if you here, just to show you, this is Gilgamesh according to story of the Eternals. And he has the Ishtar Gate on his back. Okay? Kasi taga dyan daw si Gilgamesh. Okay, taga doon naman. Actually, Gilgamesh is one of their literature. Okay, the story of Gilgamesh. Okay? So yan. So here are more intricate designs that can be found on the Ishtar Gate. And if you will notice, they utilize the blue colored pigments. Okay, heavily used it. Okay, so here are more examples of the images wherein they apply technology into their society and their structures. Okay, so yan po. Okay, any questions so far, guys, when it comes to the Mesopotamian? None?
None po, ma'am.
Okay.
None so far, ma'am.
And so far, and that's okay. So, ganito po ang gagawin natin. So, dating gawin po, kindly go over. So, i-ready ko po yung inyong exam for today. So, dalawa po yung activity na gagawin ninyo. It's the prehistoric quiz and also Mesopotamia quiz. Yan. Ito. Yan. Ibaba ko muna tong Egypt kasi hindi pa naman natin to gagawin. Next meeting pa yan. Yan. So, ito muna. Let me just show you this video. Change ko lang to para marinig niyo yung audio.
The story of writing, astronomy, and law. The story of civilization itself begins in one place. Not Egypt, not Greece,